projections, the financial plans, business plans, mentoring by others, to be presented to the general meeting. Can you please give us what's your projections?
That's a very good question, and
Can you please make your microphone a little bit, okay?
Thank you. That is a very good question, and I think we need to go clearly, slowly, so that all of us can understand this.
Right.
A financial plan and projections is a document that will be presented at the annual general meeting in the presence of the government representative, and it is a document that will be launched with the government, with the Federal Credit Union Office, for the purposes of approval and chartering.
Right.
The question is, how much do we anticipate to come in? How much do we anticipate to be paid out? And how much do we anticipate to be expensed? We have rather mentioned the minimum value of a share is $50. Our projections is that if each member will give a share capital of $100 a month, and we anticipate to have around 5,000 members in this credit union, it means that every month $100 times 5,000, which is 500,000, will come in.
Yes.
It's anticipated that this money will come in.
Right.
So that means in a year they will come around $6 million.
Right.
Yes. That is the initial 1 year. If we go the following year, that will increase in 5 years, it will increase much further.
Right.
If that goes the way we are talking, the inflow of cash in terms of share capital will be one of the largest credit union in Minnesota.
Right.
But it's a federal credit union, so it will cover the entire country.
Right.
Now, that is the income. How is other income coming in? So if I'm a member and I have an account with the credit union, probably my salary will come in a month.
Right.
If it's $1,000 coming each person in a month through the credit union, those are several $1 million that comes in.
It's actually about $5 million in a month.
In a month.
If you do the math of 1,000,
Exactly.
times 5,000 members projected as the minimum, we could have more members. So it's about 5 million.
Correct. Yeah. Now that is the income part alone we are projecting, but we do project that out of that income, the advances committee, the committee that is in charge of giving loans, will give that 500,000 to loans less the required capital of 10%.
Right.
So the maximum loans that can be given every month is $450,000. That leaves alone 10% as a deposit, which remains in the bank as a share capital.
Right.
So in a year, if we give 6 million that comes in plus other money will be 10 million, then which means that decisions for loans will be 10 million less 10%.
Right.
That is around $9 million
Right.
that goes out. Right. Here is the benefit. Where does this money go? Whom is it given? The money is given to members for their needs,
Right.
which are determined by your committee. You decide how much you give. Sometimes you decide your own interest. So if you decide to give loans for people, to give equity loans, to give school fees loans, to give emergency loans, you decide by yourself. That is the beauty of it.
Right.
Let me mention this finally. Our children, our young people who start life now are better served by a credit union in this country.
Right.
Many people have never taken a loan from a bank because of stringent conditions. But our people, young people, can be built in this country by our own credit union. Right. A community center can be put up very easily. Right. Senior living can be put very easily. Right. Money that is for the communities in this country, which is given and provided by the government, can be channeled very easily. Right. Emergency loans for investing anywhere in the world can be obtained very easily. Right. So I think our projections are right, and it will be helpful, and people will go back and look back after a few years and see what has been done. They will not regret.
Well answered, Mr. McCory. I may want to add a few things here. Well, one of the main conditions for the proposed credit union to be chartered is that we must show sustainability. We must show that the projections are right, and I'm very happy that we have an interim board member who is well versed with this kind of projections, as you have heard. But I wanted to also say that we have to show that we are capable of, operating for posterity. And that's why the NCUA, the National Credit Union Administration, requires that we show some support from established organizations. And I'm happy to mention to the public that we have an established credit union that is willing to lend us a hand. Because the moment we actually open shop, we'll be expected to deliver services to members, including, servicing of loans and what have you. And therefore, this federal credit union that is established is willing to work with us to making sure that we stand on our feet. We also look forward to getting more support from other organizations. And in fact, the public or the community have also their own organizations like a church or any kind of group that may be banking some money somewhere. We may need, to get support from you as well by, for the moment, giving us a letter of saying, okay, fine, it's a great idea and we'll probably be banking with you, and that will show support for the administration before we can have the general meeting where the credit union administration will come to probe and make sure that we are sustainable in this idea.
I want to ask a question, Mr. Motanya. Tell us about the location. Where are you going to start? Where are you going to have offices for, or a branch for you to start this process?
Well, because most of the people, our Kenyans, live in Minnesota, we would like to start the first branch in Minnesota, and then we will be able to duplicate the branches to the other places where we have more Kenyans, like Texas, North Carolina, New Jersey, Delaware. So, but the first branch, we're going to start it in Minnesota.
Thank you.
I may want to add something too. Please note that this is a federal credit union once it's being chartered, which means that members will be cutting across the spectrum in America. And therefore, as I mentioned earlier in the previous question, we have organizations or established credit unions or even banks that may come on board to help us service those members who are widely, wide and far in the country. But quickly, as you mentioned rightly, we will be starting with one office, one branch, and be given about 2 years to show that you are able to run this thing for, and then we can be now start, branching out to other places. So you got it right. Thank you.
Let me ask you, Professor, before you hand over the microphone, right. Why SMFCU are not any other? We've got so many credit union out here. Credit union out here. Why specifically do you want to start this one? And what projections are you seeing that the one you are starting is going to be totally different from all the other ones we are seeing around?
Well, that is a very good question, Mr. Kibwato. I really appreciate that question. Well, one of the underlying reasons for starting this, soon to come Sunrise Minto Federal Credit Union is so that we can have control for our destiny. You agree with me, several members, immigrants, especially from Kenya, often meet to addressing their own needs, often meet to deal with emergencies. We have our uniqueness, and we may need our unique, services or facilities. For example, not every member from, an immigrant to America may not really afford the insurance. So if members come together through this federal credit union, we can address the needs of our people, of the people who have immigrated to America, and therefore it basically brings the community more cohesed or more together, and also that helps them to then discuss issues that actually pertain to that uniqueness. And therefore, that's why this is a unique federal credit union that will serve the interests of the members in the very best that they need to.
Another question I want to ask Mr. Makori. it's about the charter process. Tell us a little bit more about the charter process.
That's a very good question. The first step is to ensure that we have a community that has similar goals. That we have Minnesota and we have everywhere. And that's why we have asked people to go to the credit union website and register themselves. This list will be put together and it be sent to the government. The government will look at it. I said, yes, we have people here who are asking for credit union, and they come over and have a general meeting with the people. At that general meeting, they will prove that they are viable. They prove that they are serious by providing their information. And they take these documents to their office, which they process a few months. If they find out that based on this list, based on the projections we have just discussed about, and we are able to sustain ourselves, they give us what we call a charter. A charter is a registration of a federal credit union by the government under the Federal Credit Union Agency, managed by the credit union, and they give us an okay to start. That process takes from 3 months to 6 months.
Another question, maybe Professor Brian is going to answer this question. I'm only seeing men here, and how many women do you have?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, yeah, we have an interim board, and this board is basically helping with the registration process. Over summer, my team really worked so hard to make sure we sieve through the requirements, and therefore we have 6 board members currently. 5 are men, and 1 is a lady, Lynette Okemwa. And then we hope to add some more ladies. We are talking to 2 ladies particularly who are considering to join. So in the next few days, we are likely to have maybe 2 more ladies. And also, we may also need the representation of the youth. So the board actually actioned and agreed that we have about 11 members total, and therefore we're going to have 5 more new board members, and therefore they will be either ladies or the youth. So I'll see another 2 more or 3 more ladies join us.
Thank you.
So can I add something
Go
so
ahead.
that we can understand? These 11 board members are just interim.
Yes.
And the moment we call the government to come and sit with the body of members, total them,
Right.
they will appoint their own new officers
Yes, yes.
who are vetted by the government, and if approved the government, those are the board that govern the credit union. We're just an interim basis, and we are helping to kick it off.
Right.
Thank you. I've got a question for Mr. Moses. What's the timeline?
I think for now we have done some groundwork. A few people have registered. Soon you will hear the update of that from him, from our president. And we hope that will go pretty quickly. Within 24th of October, that process will finish. Then we start compiling the documentation, send it to the government. It takes up between 3 and 6 months to have a chartering finished.
Right. Well, yeah, as you said rightly, the response is overwhelming. But we also understand where we are coming from. Some members may have actually been hit by some, people, with their own, agenda, and therefore there is that kind of fear sometimes. Oh my God, it's another time that maybe my money may be no. So we have about 500 people who have registered, and as I said, the response is extremely positive, very positive. That I can guarantee you. Is that people need to know about this, and that's part of the reason why we're here. So we can popularize this, we can let everybody know what it is. And once we clear the air, I believe the number will shoot up very quickly. Once we hit 5,000, we'll then move the next step, call the leadership of NCUA, to Minnesota or whatever the members, sign more. And then we have a general meeting. At that point, then the members will take control and, decide whatever they want to decide for the, soon to be registered credit union.
I appreciate those answers. Now I need you guys to have a parting shot. So let's start from Mr. Motanya. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kewato. We've come into this stage where we feel that we want to start our own credit union. we've been in this country for several years, and we are raising children. These children are going to live here. Many of them are going to identify themselves with the United States of America. So, what are we going to leave for these children? This is why we decided to start this credit union, so that we are able to give something to our children.
So
it's a legacy that we are leaving for them.
Okay, is it going to be like what the Jews actually did? You understand how the Jews did?
Yes.
And have done, not really did, but
exactly. And the Jews did it, and the same example, it needs to be followed and emulated, because you can see the success that the Jews have had all over the world. Wherever they have been in the diaspora, there's a lot of success. And as you see, Kenyans are also in the diaspora. We need people to have this legacy for their own.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matanya. Professor, not Professor. I'll need Mr. Makori to have a closing shot before Professor. Mr. Makori, go ahead, please.
I think this is a beauty, ladies and gentlemen, to be sure that the money, before it leaves our community to the entire economy, we maximize its benefit. So you can only maximize the benefit of your money to use it maximum before it goes. And the only way you can do it is to have your own bank. I think, in my own view, the development we can make by moving in having an institution that is ours, that runs for us, will promote not only here, but wherever our people are outside. So I would urge that we take the fastest opportunity to join in and move forward at this time.
Thank you. Professor, you are closing short.
Thank you very much. Well, as my brothers have already indicated, that legacy is important, and also to maximize whatever hard earnings are, I want to add a few things here. Well, everybody has a car. Or let me say most people. You drive, you have a car. All right? You know that car has to run. And you know that every part of the car is important. I want you to imagine that your little support will go a long way to making sure this dream happens. An analogy that I'll give you is of the car that I've just mentioned. And I want to see yourself as the pressure valve, for example. You may have a beautiful limousine, but if there's no pressure, you're not going to drive that car, are you? No, you're not. All right. So please don't think that your support, I have a little of this, is useless. No. Everybody is important. We count every member, and we value you as an individual. All right. And guess what? All we need for you to do is go to your laptop right now, or your computer, or your cell phones, and go to sunrisecredit.org, look at the form, and put your name in there, put the address, and the rest shall follow. We'll be in touch with you. We'll give you the progress report, and we'll make sure that we have this thing happen, and we have our own Federal Credit Union registered, and we shall be very proud to have that achievement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I take this opportunity again to thank you for visiting our studio. Anytime, you are really welcome to come and tell the members, and whatever the team has actually suggested here, that is what they have, and we are going to see more immediately when they launch this process. So for now, thank you for taking your opportunity. And you said, what is can you repeat again, that's your camera, can you repeat the website again?
The website is sunrisecredit.org. Sunrisecredit.org. That's the website.
Thank you very much again, viewers, for your time. And let's meet next time for another program. May God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.